So let's do this. We have until this glass is finished. I managed to squeeze you in my very tight schedule along with these oranges. Juice squeezed. So anyway, in my latest video I talked to you about making a video series about how I made this album by myself. Sort of taking you through the creative process of me writing, recording and producing these songs. I'm not gonna be too technical because I think that's just gonna bore you. So yeah, basically walking you through the elements of the songs and what I thought was important to them while making them. So yeah, today's episode will be the first song on the record, which is called Palms. The song itself, the basic structure of the song is pretty simple. There are simple guitar chords. There are some pretty simple drums for it, and then there's bass guitar. There are some keyboards. Pretty simple elements that all have been tweaked to sound a bit more melancholic, or I guess you could say nostalgic. A big part of this, which I did not only on this song on the record, I did it on I think all the other songs actually, is that I recorded a bunch of the sounds through this tape recorder, this old tape recorder, which kind of makes it sound a bit more lo-fi and wonky, I guess. So I'll just quickly show you what I can do if I record something, if I sing something and play it through the tape recorder, and what that sounds like. She sat up and watched it all. Or yeah, something like that. If I then were to record this audio into this tape recorder from my computer and then play it back into the computer, fidget around with it a bit, I could get some sort of interesting audio artifacts, I guess. So if I press this knob here as it's turning, she sat up, you can hear that the pitch sort of is affected. And if I were to sort of fidget around with this piece of tape here, it sort of flutters. So yeah, those are some interesting effects that you get besides the whole lo-fi quality to the audio, which also sounds kind of nice. Moving on. So the things that make this song, I would say, are the tiny details that aren't necessarily instruments, I guess. So there are a bunch of samples, for examples. Okay, so the samples. Well, I used a bunch of samples in this song, so I'm just gonna talk about 3 of them because they felt like the most central ones to me. So we have one sample that sounds like this, another one that sounds like this.
We're sorry, your call did not go through. Will you please try your call again?
And a third one that sounds like this.
I've been waiting for you.
So the first audio sample, that's an old recording of a hot bulb engine, which is one of these old engines that you used in, I think, fishing boats. They were probably used for a bunch of other things too, but I don't know the history to it. So anyway, fishing boats. And the second audio sample, that's an old recording of a TV or radio broadcast of this person walking into a phone booth, dialing an old phone, putting a coin into the phone, and then hearing from the operator that...
We're sorry.
And that.
Your call did not go through.
So yeah, that fits nicely into a theme that I tried to weave into the lyrics. So listen, you can take whatever you want from the lyrics. It's your listening experience and all that, but I tried to incorporate this theme of, I guess, the inability to, or the resistance to receiving or taking in bad news, the denial of it all. So yeah, I think those things, metaphors and stuff, you get it. So the third audio sample that sounds like this,
I've been waiting for you.
that's also a recording of an old TV or radio broadcast of this girl saying, "I've been waiting for you." And there's just something about the tone of her voice, or maybe it's the lo-fi audio quality, that's just so sad and melancholic and nostalgic and cinematic as well, that I also try to put into the song. So yeah, that's that. Another really important thing to this song, it's sort of like a red thread in this song, I actually used this sound in every song on the record, is so I went to this flea market and bought a wall clock. Like nothing special, it was a pretty ugly clock actually, I think I threw it out. But before I threw it out, I picked it apart and I took out the ding-dongy mechanism, you know, the sound thingy. I recorded some sounds with it. Okay, so inside this wall clock that I disassembled, I found this thing, which looks very interesting, or at least I guess it looks like something that I don't understand what that is, so I want to poke it. So I took it out and I experimented with it a bit, and I found that if I took one of these mallets and hit these steel thingies, then there were pleasant sounds for my ear region. Sounds like this. Sounds nice, right? And if I used some of my effects magic on this, I could get it to sound like this. There's also this theme melody in, I think, at least 2 parts of the song. This sort of whistly sound, which is it's not really a whistle. It's important, it's not really a whistle. It's me doing this other thing. Okay, so not a whistle, not really a whistle. An ordinary whistle would be like this. But my revolutionary whistling technique sounds like this. So you just blow some air out of your mouth. Totally the one who thought of this first. Ever. So yeah, if you drench it in some reverb and delay and all of those fun effects, then it sounds more like this. So sort of overdubbing these whistly sounds is this saw. So I bought a saw for this song to play it. Okay, so the raw audio of just playing a note sounds horrible. But with some practice and some editing. So the last thing I want to do before finishing up this video is talk a bit about the structure of the song and the lyrics. So structure-wise, it's not a basic pop song structure, I guess. I start out with this intro where it's just the guitar riff. Then we have the first verse. Then after the first verse, there's an interlude where I introduce the main theme. This interlude or this main theme is then followed by another verse, a second verse, and after that comes a second interlude where new melodies and new chords are introduced. This is sort of the climax of the song, I guess. And then there's sort of this build down, I guess, to the outro of the song, the final verse. This makes for a not traditional pop feeling, I guess, because there's no chorus to the song. It's actually just one part that is sung. There are just verses stacked upon each other with instrumental parts in between. But yeah, moving on to the lyrics themselves, I don't want to say too much about it because I think it's important for the listener to make their own interpretation of what the song is about. But I sort of play this pronoun game, I guess. So there's an I, there's a you, and there's a she in this song. The I and the you are the same person talking about the third one, which is the she. The you is used to sort of distance the protagonist, if you will, from what has happened, which is sort of a breakup, I guess. Cliched breakup song. And the I is used more to signal that the protagonist has actually realized what has happened or what is happening. So yeah, that's how I used those words for that. It's kind of subtle, but I like subtle. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's what I want to say about this song. As I said before, I don't want to get too technical because I don't think that matters really. I just want you to get an idea of what my ideas were making this song or making these songs, because there will be more of these episodes. Soon, I don't know when, I'll post a second video of me walking you through the second song of the album, which is called Reflect. And speaking of
the album, the record, go buy it, maybe. Force your parents to buy it, force your kids to buy it. Do you have kids?
Maybe they have money for me. But yeah, links for that in the description, for buying and listening to my record. See you soon. Have the nice times. Well, poop, I forgot. Oh god, that was really expensive juice.